Starting the engine. So on page 4-14 of the airplane flight manual, engine starting battery. First step is gen ties. So if I was starting at night, I want to go ahead and manually close these, get a little bit more light into the cockpit. Since we're starting at day, that's not required. Next thing we're going to check is that the prop area is clear. So right prop area is clear. Okay, crew, we're going to start the right engine in 3, 2, 1, hack. Switch is engaged, prop is turning, fuel pressure light is off, igniter is on. Looking for N1 to stabilize. N1 is stabilized, introduce some fuel. Looking for light off within 10, that was pretty quick on the light off. Secondary fuel's coming in, oil pressure is on the rise. There's 50%, ITT has peaked. And starter switch is off. Alrighty, waiting for the propeller to stabilize. And a little bit low there, that's alright, we'll go ahead and condition lever high idle. Generator switch on. And we got good load and amperage. Alright, DC load is coming down. We want 50% minimum, and I'll usually like the amperage come back down. Minimum about 20 amps. So there's the DC load, there's the amps coming back down. About 20 amps right there. Alright, we're ready to start the left engine. Prop is clear. And starting in 3, 2, 1. Switch is on, prop is turning. Fuel pressure light is out, igniter is on. Waiting for N1 to stabilize. There we go. Introducing fuel. ITT within 10. There it is. Good light off, good oil pressure. Secondary fuel's already come in. ITT has peaked, N1's above 50%, and starter switch is off. Alrighty, propeller RPM above 1050, right condition lever coming back to low idle. Be really careful here. If you pull these just a little bit too far back, they'll go into fuel cutoff, so I like to set them right about so they sit on those notches right there. Okay, condition lever is low idle. Next is going to be left generator switch is on. Left generator's on, gen ties are still off. Now we're going to reset the right generator switch. Alrighty, right generator switch is reset and the left generator is still holding the gen ties, so that's good. And back on. Alrighty, that completes that checklist. We will then move on to the before taxi. Alrighty, welcome back. Now we're on the before taxi checklist on page 4-18. So the first thing we need to do is to check our electrical systems. So we're going to manually open the gen ties. So I'm going to manually open those. We're going to get a master caution and a left and right gen bus. So now when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and check the volts. And we're going to start with a triple fed bus. And I should be getting 26.5 to 28 volts, basically around 28 volts from the generators. Then the left and right generators, I'm going to get 27.5 to 29 volts from each of those. And then on the center bus, I'm going to get minimum 23 volts or battery bus because the center bus has now been isolated from the two generator bus and it's only getting power from the batteries. So once I've checked that, then we'll go ahead and take the gen switch and put it back into the normal position. And we see our two caution lights have extinguished. And then we check the voltage again and we can see 28, 28, 28, 28 across the board there. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're now going to test the bus sense. So this is going to trigger the Hall effect devices for us and trip all three of our Hall effect devices, our battery, tie, and our two gen ties. So I'll take that to the test position. We can see all three ties have now been tripped, and then the center bus has gone to 0. Go ahead and get that master caution. Left and right generator is at 28, triple fed is at 28, and battery, there we go, is at 24. Once we've checked that, we'll then reset that, and the Hall effect devices have now been reset. And we check, and then batteries at 28, triple and generators and center are all at 28. Once we have checked all of that, then we can go ahead and bring on the avionics master power, as we have good source of avionics power. Okay, welcome back. I paused for a moment to go ahead and allow the avionics to continue to boot up. Normally at this point I would go ahead and bring up the flight management system and initialize that, but that'll be for a later video. Alrighty, so continuing on, avionics master switch is on, avionics have booted up. Now we're on to the interior master switch. And again, if you got passengers in the back, you may want to go ahead and turn on the interior master for them to, plug in and use the electric in the back. Alrighty, master panel and cockpit lights. Again, we have the rocker switch up here, which will turn on all the lights, but we're flying in the day, so we don't need those. Mic switches, moving on to this, make sure we're transmitting on number 1 and we're listening to the appropriate radios. Cabin lights have all been set, furnishes set, and cabin signs, I have already turned all those on, so again, that's just coming right across here. Make sure our ESIS has initialized. It has. Exterior lighting, I've already got the nav lights and the beacon lights on. That's all the lights we need on outside for right now. Overspeed warning, we'll go ahead and I checked that earlier during pre-flight, but we'll check it again. So overspeed warning is working. All right, next we'll get our environmental controls. So we'll go ahead and bring this to auto. And because of in the auto position for the blowers, how loud it tends to be, I like to give it one click in the low position. It's just a simism for that. Okay, so that is all set. We don't need electrical heat. Brake de-ice is not required. Prop sync comes on, so there's the prop sync. And now we're going to start testing some of the avionics. So we'll go ahead and turn traffic on. We'll be testing the TCAS first. We'll make sure that that's on. Altitude reporting is on. And then over to the TCAS. We'll turn on above because I know it'll be taken off. And we'll execute the test. So we get the 4 symbols above and below and the traffic warning message on the flight display. All right, once we get the TCAS system test okay, then we're good to go. Next, we'll select terrain for the TAWS test, and we'll press the glide slope inhibit, and it'll run the TAWS test for us. So we get the ground proximity, we get the terrain test blocks, we get the pull up, and then we should get the audio test is passed. Alrighty, that's completed those checks. Next is flight and engine instruments. I would set up my altimeters. So it's 29er, 9er, 9er. Now notice the yellow line that has appeared under the pilot side. That means that the pilot and co-pilots are not in sync. So make sure you set both of those. And then of course the ESIS as well. Alrighty, so altimeters are set. ESIS altimeter is set. Flaps are up. Flight controls, we will check them again. Left, full back, full right, full forward, and neutral. And flight controls are checked, as well as I will check the rudders. So full left rudder, full right rudder, and rudders have checked as well. And finally, we're up to our taxi for brakes release and check. So I will do that as we begin our taxi check.